Happy New Year, everyone. Well, it's 2022, it's the 1st of January, and throughout Christmas, I've had various car repairs and other odd jobs go on, and the workshop's a complete mess. So I think the best thing to do, first of all, is give it a tidy. Much better. Time to crack on. Hello and welcome to Andy's World and episode 3 of the kayak restoration video. It's finally here. It's taken me a few weeks. I do apologise for the delay, but here we are. Now, since the last vlog, I've not been lazy. I've finished fiberglassing the inside and doing the repairs to the outside hull, and I've also given the inside a coat of fiberglass primer. What this does is this seals the fibres of the fiberglass that's left over from becoming detached and getting into things like your sleeping bag and things, and you don't want an itchy night. So that's basically sealed the inside now, and it's a more pleasant place to stay in. And the eagle-eyed amongst you would probably also notice that another hole has appeared in the kayak, and there's going to be a second deck hatch, mostly really because I needed the access to repair this end, but also I'm thinking if I'm putting some camping gear in the rear, I want to balance up the front a little bit with a little bit of weight. Otherwise I'm going to be going along the canal in like a wedge shape like this, and that was just not efficient. These deck hatches, I've got to say, they're readily available on the internet. Personally, I use that Jungle website, but if you have access to a 3D printer, you can actually make these yourself, and all the furniture for it really inexpensively. The files for these are available for free on thingiverse.com. Here's one I printed earlier, and they fit really well. They're really snug, just drop in nice. And they really do a good job. Now, how long the plastic lasts as opposed to ABS, this is PET plastic, I'm not sure, but I will come to that in a later vlog. Does PET last in a kayak? Maybe comments below. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to coat the cargo area with some blue enamel, and this will further seal the inside fibres. And this stuff goes on quite thin and it coats really well, and I'm hoping this won't take a week to dry like the primer did. It really did take. The workshop's cold at the moment. Well, obviously it's winter time here in the UK, and it hasn't really got above minus figures for a few days now, and it just takes an age for anything to dry. What are you doing, Andy? I hear you cry. Surely the water should be on the outside of the kayak and not on the inside. Well, this is a simple test, and it comes from my engineering manager at work who was selling a boat. And he advertised it and everything, and the guy came round to have a look, and the first question he asked is,
does it float? In which my engineering manager replied, well, it holds rainwater. So using that simple logic, I'm assuming that if the water doesn't leak out, then it won't leak in. Under here having a look, and I'm pleased to say there's no water on the outside. Brilliant. Right, so now I've got to get this water out. Bugger.
So it's been another week since that water test. It just seems to be taking me forever. We're waiting for paint to dry, and I can't really work outside at the moment because England's being lashed by a couple of storms. But to crack on for today, we're going to have a look at the seat. So my plan is to lay some of this structural fiberglass matting on the inside of the seat, and hopefully that will strengthen it up a bit. Come down here.
So what I'm hoping to do is weigh some of this. And move it over here. Now, I'm not too worried about getting it over the edge here because I can always trim that up after. Now here's a top tip, if you can't quite see what you're doing, some GoPro cameras you can link to your phone and you can watch on the screen literally what you're doing. Perfect. Bit contortionist for that job, but I think that's a job well done.
Right, so now here's the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time to fit the deck hatch. Now, what I've done at the moment is I've just laid it in place and secured it with a couple of metal strips. Now, what my plan is to make these two upright parts here out to the bit I've cut off. So I'm just going to mark this up and we'll cut a piece to fit. So that's alright. So this one's the back one, that one's the front one. So I've got two pieces, this one's the back. front. Spot on. Crikey, that wind's really getting up outside now. So I'm going to turn my attention now to prepping the deck hatch, and same thing as before, I'm just going to stick some of this fiberglass mat on the underside of it. So when we fit it, we've got a lip of material on the inside that we can then use to stick it to the inside of the kayak.
Tried with a different method this time. Just go around the inside of it, try and get it to stick. And through the edges as much as possible. Spot on.
So this is the front and back panel in place. Now I did film this, but my boiler in the corner of the workshop just drowned everything out. But how I did it is I secured the corners with a glue gun, which held it in place for me to be able to fiberglass behind it. I then trimmed it to fit and gave it a coat of paint after. And these are coming really secure. I'm quite pleased with these. So the next job now is to fit the deck hatch, and what I've done with this is I've given it a coat of paint on the inside, and I've left these edges really feathery so the fibres will adhere really nice to the inside. And the next job now is just to check the fit and trim it to fit. So if I put it right way around. So there's the deck hatch in place, ready for fiberglassing in. So this is the tricky bit now, because you can't really see what you're doing, but what I've done is I've got a GoPro set up inside the kayak and I can see it on my screen here, and the trick is now is just to try to fiberglass this in. What I'm going to do is just I'm just going to try to smear a load of fiberglass on the back of that panel. Try to see if this will take some sort of shape, which it won't. Actually find it easier if you turn the kayak over and do it. So that's the deck hatch in place. It's gone off quite well and it's really solid. Really impressed with that. So the next thing I'm going to do is just tidy up these edges a bit. Okay, so now the plan is to fiberglass it in place. I'm going to use some chopped strand to fill in the gaps around the edges, and I'm going to lay some proper construction mat on top just to give it a strengthen up. that has. I'm impressed with that. I'll let it go off, give it a sand and tidy it up a bit more. So that's all sanded back now, and it's come out really smooth. I'm really impressed with that. I'm just going to cut the centre out now with a Stanley knife. I purposely didn't, or tried to, not get any resin on the inside of this so it cut quite easily. If you do get some over the edges like I have, hacksaw blade. So that's the old cup, spot on. Now I have got little bits where I haven't quite filled it properly and there's not quite enough resin in there, and all I'm going to do with that is use some of this, a big boy hard filler with added glass resin. Don't need a lot of it, that's probably too much. Perfect. So that's the deck hatch installed, and all the repairs are now complete on the kayak, and I'm really glad there's no more fiberglass in. We've repaired the seat, the deck hatch is in, the holes underneath are repaired and it's watertight, and we get the insider paint. So in the next episode I'll be turning more attention on the outside and making it look a bit more presentable. And again, I apologise for how long it's taken me to get these videos out with work and family commitments, as everybody has. It's just taking me an age and waiting for things to dry with the bad weather. I can only work inside at the moment, but hopefully with the better weather coming and I can work outside, the next stage involves a lot of gel coating and painting, and that would really be a help. So hopefully it won't be so long till the next episode. So take care of yourself, and I hope you're all well, and I'll join you next time on Andy's World.